go. And it is, what the fuck? Oh yeah, it's going. Hello.
Going. I see the record. Hello.
What's up, John?
We are live, but not really.
We're kind of live in the, yeah, like almost.
Almost.
Background live.
Right. There's a delay in our aliveness. There's
We are not live, but we are alive.
We are. And lagging a little bit, but we have green tea for that. I myself from the land of Japan, some matcha green tea. And you?
I had green tea and now I have just water.
Okay.
But it's standing next to plants. So it's recharging with plant energy.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. It is 1:29 Florida time, making it 7:29 your time?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm already tired, but we already talked about it.
Yes, we did. We did. In the green room, in the green tea room.
In the green tea room, yes. There was an event yesterday. I had to host somebody, and that took up a little bit of energy, and now I am here, tired. So
we will make the best of this inaugural run of sorts, this preliminary practice field of podcasting, which I personally have no experience.
Me neither.
We're figuring this out as we go. I don't even know if this is going to be the first official broadcast because we are recording it. I think that might be fun to really record the evolution of how we take it from 0 to 60, how fast that takes. Not that we're in a race or anything.
You say in Germany, you would say 100 because it's kilometers. So 0 to 100, but you say 60. It's funny.
Yeah, 60 is kind of slow though.
Let's say 100.
0 to 100.
Whatever 100 means.
I like 99, 0 to 99. That sounds fun.
All right.
So, what we could do is we could talk about real quickly how this happened. I mean, you and I, we met in Utah.
Wow.
Of all places in the world, right?
Yes.
Utah. Yeah, I mean, I never thought I would go to Utah.
Me neither.
I mean, what's in Utah?
Sand, salt.
There was, yes, salts. I saw a pretty magnificent photo shoot of somebody on the Salt Flats the other day. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do certainly think so, yes.
Yes, that was a really, really excellent photo shoot. But anyway, we can get into that later. So what brought us together was a training of sorts. We both had interest in potentially pursuing certifications in the completion process that was designed and is made available by Teal and her team. And we ended up co-inhabiting a mansion in the hills of Camas, which is a city outside of Salt Lake City, Utah.
The city of, what did you say? The city of Heber, you mean?
It was Heber? I thought it was Camas.
Yes, I was Heber.
Heber is where...
Was Heber.
Heber was where our house was?
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was in Camas. Wasn't it called the Camas house? K-A-M?
Oh, maybe the other's house was in Heber. Yeah, maybe you're right. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
It's true.
Only because I remember the invitation that said, "You're staying in the Camas house." And I was like, I don't know what that means. It means that we have a half-an-hour drive every morning to the main house.
And I had a personal chauffeur in the evening.
You did.
Whose name is Shane. We both know him. He's wonderful.
I spoke with that wonderful human being yesterday, actually. He is back in Portland. And I told him of our podcast potential. And he really? Like, so we would sit around in the morning at the Camas house.
Yes.
Over tea, oracle cards, and the lovely view of the lake in the distance. And people just wandering downstairs and upstairs from wherever their sleeping quarters were. And we were in the middle of just rapping, man, just flowing over tea, yerba mate, so we can get up to get down. And so we bonded over tea, conversation. integration, lots of words ending in shun. And yeah, we jested about people said, "What are you doing?" You know, because it was beyond talking, right? I mean, it was definitely beyond just conversation. We're like, "Oh, we're working on our podcast that just came out," right? It was a little fib at first, but
Yes.
really, but was it though? Maybe it was
I
just
thought
forward.
you were joking. Like, honestly, most of the time I thought you were joking, and I think you were in the beginning, but then it was like becoming more kind of a serious idea, and I was like, that's not a bad idea, maybe. So yeah.
Yeah, I would admit that it was kind of joking, but as you know, I'm a joker kind of guy. But I think the whole time there was a very significant thread of belief and truth in it, because the way it felt, like I said, all jokes aside, was that what we were hitting on was just, man, this I could do this every day. And it felt good in that house, the company that we were surrounded by, you know, Shane, the other participants, and otherwise. Like, I was like, man, I would sign up to do this once a day for an hour or two, like, easily. Talk about high conscious shit and like, oh, can we curse? I don't even know the rules of podcasting. Can we
Oh,
drop F-bombs?
we can. Maybe we can edit it out later. I don't know.
There's going to be editing?
I could like beep, shit.
Fuck, beep, beep, beep.
But let's try to keep it a little short, because I don't know if we have like a 40-minute time limit. So, and also that's like, yeah,
And
it
you're tired.
could be that we have a time limit from the software.
I think with that, the way I read it, and I could be wrong, the way I read it was that because I tested this, like I said, with someone the other day, and we talked for more than 40 minutes. It didn't cut us off. If you add a person, that's when you only have 40 minutes. If it's just the two of us, I think it's unlimited.
Oh, whoa, nice.
So I think
But
yeah. But still, I know.
still, like, we should have to like go into the details and into the content. We want to go into the content, right? So
We
like
do.
the end of it all was that we kind of talked with each other and said, let's do the podcast. And I said, I sent you the message. Remember, I was like, I want to do the podcast. Do you want to do it as well? And you said yes. So that was it.
Yeah.
Talking about different things.
The story in a nutshell. And we're going to figure this out as we go. We're going to have fun with it. And it'll be messy at first, and then it'll get fancy, and then it'll get messy again, and then whatever. There's no rules.
Fancy messy. So what's the name for the podcast, John?
Wow, put me on the spot. Really? I don't even think we're going to have to probably rely heavily upon our audience for all these answers, because
Okay.
I feel it started off as Tea Time with John and Tobias.
Kind of.
That was, oh wait, might as well sip on the tea.
Mine is so empty. No more tea left.
I just put the tea bag in my mouth. It's so
That's
wrong.
It's called tea bagging.
Can we say that?
That's not cursing if nobody knows.
Shit. Beep, 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 beep. So you created, quite impressively, by the way, a very nice outline for.
Yes.
I loved it, man. You were like, give me feedback. And my only feedback was like, I wanted to get the pom-poms out and just like, just cheer it on. Because first of all, it took out a lot of work off my plate, having to think of how we're going to do this. And just spitballing might, just it'll turn into a 3-hour event. But nice. First
Thank you.
run, it looked good. Yeah. So we can dive into that if you want.
Yes. So, yeah, let's do that. I have the list right here with all the points I put down. And the first point is, use the first podcast to just discuss what the podcast is about. Maybe not just, but also. So what is the podcast about? And I have ideas about that. And I would actually, can I just introduce them? All right.
Yes, please.
So I thought, and John agreed, so we both thought that it would be awesome to not only talk about us and the world, but also something that the community will actually care about deeply. So it would be very good to talk about Teals every week videos. And we thought it might be a good idea to just pick up the video and just generally talk a little bit about what's happening there, what kind of ideas she communicates, and we kind of comment a little bit on it and just talk about our own examples in our life. What is actually the meaning behind what she's saying, and how do we see it? Maybe sometimes how do we see it as men, because like there's a large female audience for the Teal tribe. If you don't know what the Teal tribe is, it's like the following of the spiritual teacher Teal Swan. And if you're new to her, you're very welcome to look her up on YouTube. And yeah, so that's the first thing. We will try, or at least start, commenting on those videos, and then go to a more personalized topic, which we talk about every week. And that can be something from a psychological, spiritual, humanistic, creative standpoint, everything that is exciting the soul and making us fill our hearts with joy, and maybe also yours.
Well said.
Thanks. So,
Yep.
And then we end it and say goodbye, and until next week.
Until next week. So you made an outline. Is that outline and the topics that you covered in that outline something that you want to address on our next recording or next session, or did you want to dive into that today? I'm leaving that entirely up to you, because I mean, I want to honor that you said that you're fatigued.
Yeah, I am fatigued. I would actually loosely pick up on that and just try how it goes, and go a little bit into what we prepared, because we both watched the video from Teal and I wrote some things down. I did my homework. I was a good student. And
Gotcha.
so let's just do that, and then talk a little bit about the thing with creativity. And
Okay.
But not too long, maybe just see how it goes. Maybe 20 minutes each or something. I don't know.
Yeah. And I'll definitely turn the reins over to you and let you guide us through this process, since you very much structured it in your mind, your heart. You have a vision. So
Yes.
I will be color commentation, so to speak, for this portion of the sleigh ride. And
Nice.
you'll be saying, "You ho ho ho, Mary, take us all the way there, my friend." I'm just gonna kick back and relax.
Okay, that sounds
But
awesome.
if you need me, call upon me. I'm right here.
I will. Okay, yeah, we will do it together. We just see how it goes. So I'll start then with the video, introducing the video. And the video is from Teal Swan. It is from the week of it's like the Saturday video of the 7th of September, I guess. And it is about zero-sum games, which in my view is actually, I looked it up a little bit on YouTube accidentally, is a term that originally originates from game theory, I think. So there are different types of games, like in game theory, when you play something with a friend, like cards or something. And a zero-sum game is per definition a game where one person or party loses and the other party wins, and it cannot be another way around. And so Teal's main point in this video is that our world is basically made out of zero-sum games at the moment, like in relationships, in politics, in every kind of domain that there is in the world. There are zero-sum games where people have to have this tendency of thinking and feeling like, if you win something, I lose, right? And if I win something, you lose. And that's creating a lot of problems in the world, because then we cannot create true synergy and cannot create lasting good relationships, and that's shit. And so that's why she's saying end the zero-sum games. And that's where the video starts.
Yeah, it was kind of surprising to me. Like that phrase was in the back of my mind, but it was one of those 1,000+ phrases that I heard before and didn't really give much attention to. I kind of knew what it meant. And so I watched the video the first time, and as I told you, a lot of times when I watch your videos, especially if it's a topic that I have resistance to, I dissociate very quickly, or I fall asleep, whatever. But this one wasn't really grabbing me at first, because I was kind of like, how does this pertain to me? But I made that mistake. I think I had other things on my mind, whatever.
She also,
and then I watched it.
Yeah.
I watched it again today.
She also didn't introduced that many new concepts, I would say, this time. Like,
Right.
personally, that's what I think. So I can understand you.
Yeah, maybe I got a little spoiled and I was like, where's the new cutting edge stuff where it's always,
Yeah.
looking for that versus something tried and true and that's been there for a while. And so in the second viewing, I really paid attention, which was very shortly before we jumped online here. And it was astounding to me, like how often this zero sum game has popped up in my life in the past, the not so far path, like my childhood. Certainly my childhood. I really didn't even understand the implications of becoming the scapegoat and my brother is the golden child and how that was the ultimate zero sum game. And like,
Yes.
man, now it makes me want to watch the video 2 more times just to really soak it in, and understand.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, wow, that's a good entry. I actually had some ideas that came up to my mind that I wanted to introduce, but first of all, since you already started, that's a very good way to like think about the zero sum game, is just think about how does it apply to my own life and where did I actually play zero sum games, where was I played on, and where maybe, and that's probably the most important thing, do I still play zero sum games even if I consider myself spiritual? Like, where do I still treat people like unfairly? Like, for example, if I'm like vegan and maybe tell other non-vegans like you're doing something bad and shame on you, it's like this, like the other person only can lose, right? Because like they get defensive and then there's a battle and stuff like that. So yeah, it's like I personally realized that I do that a lot. Like, she talked about triangulation, where she was talking about like 2 people getting together to like make somebody else bad, like talk bad about somebody else. Like, I still do that sometimes with friends, where I'm like a little angry on like one friend, and so I kind of like bond together with another friend over that one, and then I talk shit, and that's not good, and that's not masculine, and that's not like particularly loving. But in that moment, it's a zero sum game because I and the other friend win something, and then there's one friend who's losing. So yeah, that's like the first invitation. Like, look into ourselves and just look how it applies to us, probably.
Yeah.
I would say.
Thanks for honoring that tangent that I took us on. But back to the road that you were steering us down and navigating down that path that you created. Take it away.
What I wanted to say with the ideas, like, honestly, I was particularly intrigued by what Teal said about that zero sum game like has the implication that resources are scarce in the world, and that's like something so deeply touching for me, because this is like running through our society and running through our world, this idea that resources are scarce, right? So if I think that I'm losing while you're winning and the other way around, then there must be the idea that there's only so much, so only one of us can get it. But like, shifting this is probably one of the biggest challenges for us. And with this shift, like introducing that shift into my life, there was a video that helped me a lot in the last few days, and that was a video from one of my favorite YouTubers, Leo Gura from actualize.org, and he talked about conscious politics. Very nice video series. And he said that like there is like love and consciousness are 2 resources in the world that are infinite. Like love, growth, consciousness, there is no limit to that. Everybody can grow that. And this is the source of every other resource, because with love and consciousness, you can come up for ways like to make like resources, share resources, create new resources. And like every other resource is kind of below that. And so when you really realize that those resources are never scared, what's inside you, the potential for growth and love and consciousness, then you actually kind of transcend that zero sum game and kind of go into a win-win, right? So that's what really like blew my mind when I thought about it today.
Yeah, that's really beautiful, man. I like what you said about love and consciousness being unlimited resources, and through those 2 things alone, we can solve all things and have all things and be all things. Like, it's that simple, right?
Yes. it's hard to imagine in practice, but it's like in theory, it kind of works. Like in my mind, it works at least.
Yeah. And that was another thing that drew me back to well, aside from preparing for today's session, but really got me engaged in the video was, in the background, I kept hearing this echo of something that I used to say a lot when I was really active in my local community here and trying to be a connector of sorts and bringing people together and tying people into one another so that we can be closer, that we can help each other and grow together and elevate our consciousness and all that great stuff. I remember saying, and it wasn't something I seen anywhere, it was just coming out of me. It was in the flow of things. And I was kind of being a teacher, at times on my soapbox, whatever, but what was always coming out was like, it's not a competition. When I get frustrated, I would tell people, it's not a freaking competition. And that pertained to everything. When I was working in the farmers markets and stuff, there was just needless people like throwing daggers and shots and pulling carpets out from under you that just really, I mean, it was blowing my mind, the politics, the perniciousness in areas that should have been so intimate and so joy-filled and loving and connected. And I just kept just saying that, at times as delicately as possible, but other times just in a full rage, like, it's not a competition. And the more and more that we can embrace that as individuals and remind ourselves of that and share that with others, like, the only time it's a competition is in the videos, as she said, that people are consciously saying, I'm competing, in a sports game, or, in some type of other scenario, a debate, or whatever the case may be. There's going to be a winner and loser. But in life in general, man, like, if we can really just, like you said, up here, it's a little easier maybe to put it together than it is out here. But man, it's not a competition. We can help each other in so many ways, even in people in our same field. It's so easy to lift one another up and to both be celebrated and to celebrate each other. And like, it's a very vague topic, but it does tie into, and what was the allure for me to pay more attention to this week's video, for sure.
Nice. I mean, it's like, the thing is, like, we're just so conditioned, right? That's like we're like so deeply, we don't even know how conditioned we are on the fact that, like, on being driven towards competition, right? Like, a whole culture is very much competition driven, and it is very hard to, like, pull yourself out of that cultural matrix in a way, right? That's the main thing. That's what she didn't mention in the video. Like, there's also this drive, like, this constant notion of you should be better than somebody else. Like, there's the Facebook ads or the YouTube ads where it's like, get your business ahead, you don't want to be behind, like this,
Yeah.
So there's like this constant, like, subconscious reconditioning that you should compete, and that you should that is it. It is a win and lose. Like, it is a zero-sum game.
Totally, because if you don't play the game, you're going to lose, and you're going to be homeless, and you're not going to have a job. I mean, and your girlfriend's going to leave you, and all this stuff. And I'm assuming it's just as prevalent where you are as it is here.
I think in America it's a little more prevalent even. I think it's because we're a little bit more on the social side here in Germany, I would say. We have, like, healthcare, universal healthcare. You don't.
What's that?
What's that? Yeah.
I don't even understand. I want to compete for it, though. Can I compete for it?
You can try, but no. Yeah.
Maybe we can win it from you in the Olympics. We can win universal healthcare from you in the Olympics. I don't know, but
no, I'm just, that's funny.
Yeah, that's a bump. Yeah, I understand what you're saying though, as far as the social. Here, I've never even been to where you're from, not yet, but I look forward to the live broadcast when we're doing it in the same room. But anyway, before that happens, it's insane here.
Let's dream.
The zero-sum game here is insane. The competition is it's in every facet. It's the program that you said, and it's deep and it's layered and it goes back for decades and decades and decades, and it's hideous, man. And to unlearn that, man, it's easier said than done, because just when you think, okay, I'm awake to all this, I'm woke AF, like I'm plugged into your lies, the conspiracy. I'm unlearning everything and I'm learning anew. Then another thing pops in. You're like, are you shitting me? Like
Yes.
what? Yep. Almost every day here in the land of opportunity.
You know, like one thing I think is, yeah, in the land of opportunity, the former land of opportunity, I would say. It's like, let's move to Costa Rica together. That would be nice.
Yeah. Ah, so lovely.
Yeah, no, but the thing is that, like, personally, I think one of the biggest things when it comes to unlearning something or like dropping a pattern is actually also having the new pattern in mind and knowing what the goal is. And that's like equally as hard as unlearning the conditioning, I would say. So one thing that's very big is what I wrote down in the end after I took all of the other notes is, how would we actually imagine a world without zero-sum games? That's like, sounds pretty crazy, and it's like that's a question we can discuss here. Like, if we just imagine, like, how would it actually look if there are no zero-sum games anymore, and we're like, just like, our relationships are filled with love and equal understanding and being concerned for each other. Our businesses would be aimed towards the benefit of the greater good and everybody else, and there would be competition only in the sense of bringing out the maximum in each other, not in like destroying better ideas that may be actually better in the market than others. And I don't know, politics the same way, or any kind of field, school, uni, whatever.
Yeah.
So how would that look like, John? Do you have any ideas how it would practically look like in any kind of field?
Oh my gosh, man. It would be a dream. It would be it would be a new world. It's almost like unfathomable, really. At least
Yes.
where I'm from. I like how would it look? I like the start of it all, being in. She spoke about our relationships with ourselves and with each other, and I think all that transformation can snowball, so to speak, if we all consciously turn the lens in on ourselves and our relationships and the integration aspect that she spoke about. That's
Yes.
really touching for me, because as I navigate through my birth charts, natal sky star system, reports, or whatever they're called, I've learned that a very big part of why I'm here, my purpose, is to be an integrator. And so, but that all starts, in our personal journeys. And so as I look at my relationship, first and foremost with my partner, and how, I've learned very much from her about how I can, what it is to truly be loved, and how to unconditionally love and be unconditionally loved, and be allowing to receive that energy. But just being, not just hearing what she's saying, but feeling into, she wants me to feel what she's feeling. And at first I thought that was nuts. Like, why would I want to feel your depression? Like, that doesn't even make sense, man. Like, you feel your depression, I'm going to feel my happess over here. And it's like zero-sum game over here. I win, I'm happy, you lose, you're depressed. Like,
Yeah.
and so
Wow.
that,
What an example.
yeah, that separation right there was
Mm.
almost the demise of our relationship, because I couldn't quite understand what she was asking me for.
Wow.
Like, why would I ever choose to feel your depression?
Wow.
Like,
I know the feeling. I know the feeling, man, like on the opposite side, because I know depression. So, yeah, I have a friend that was not ready to feel that, and he's pretty much not my friend anymore. So I kind of played a zero-sum game, but also in the end I was saving myself.
yeah, yeah. And fortunately, she was very gentle with me and very, very patient with me, because she saw in me that I was frustrated and I didn't understand it. But there
Mm.
was a part of me that was really wanting to connect with her and wanting to understand, but I just couldn't wrap my mind around what that meant. Why would anyone sign up to feel pain? I want to make you, I want to be the one to help you feel better. I want to be the one, almost like a competition. Like, you're here, I'm over here. I want to get you up here, like, because that's the way I'm programmed, to bring you up here, not for me to join you down here. Why would I ever want to join you? Oh, shit. That's why. Because this is love. You know, taking on each other, you know, each other's everything and making it a part of us. And, you know, I learned that through her. I've learned that a lot through Teal and her teachings, and even spending time with you in Utah, and just listening to the things that you were going through. I mean, in a very short period of time, you and I got very close because we gave each other the arena to just feel whatever. And that's what I miss about, I mean, I got to stay 2 weeks, bro. You left after a week. I had 2 weeks of being surrounded by these beautiful people and all this vulnerability and openness and love, and just, I mean, working through the sludge, man. But actually being with people in the worst of the worst, never in my mind would I have thought, back in my days of spiritual bypassing and perpetual positivity, that I would ever sign up for wanting to drag myself through the mud with other people. But man, how close has it brought us? And how far can we go if we allow ourselves to feel those uncomfortable things? So a little like on topic, a little off topic, but it all still relates. The zero sum game has to go. And it all starts with, I think, you know, you talked about politics and in the workplace and in just the world around us and in general, in every arena. How would that look? Like paradise on earth. But it all begins with the relationships with ourselves and with each other.
Yeah, of course. Of course. That's like, and when you say relationship with ourselves, or also with each other, I instantly imagine the situation where I have like a text message in front of me or a person, and I'm like, I have a conflict with him or her, and I just imagine me sitting down and like taking a breath and then really asking myself the question, what is the thing right now that would be the most win-win for us both?
Oh, I like that.
And I think this is like the little spot where it all changes. It's like this thing where I don't like jump to my pre-trained mental pathways, but actually do something new in the moment and just really ask myself, wait, have I really thought this through? Is there really something I could do maybe? Because like honestly, there was a friend of mine. I can tell you an example. This is actually a friend I'm not seeing that much at the moment because it's not going good with us. But he actually asked me if I wanted to like go to a bar or if I wanted to talk with him, and I didn't really feel like it because I was like, I don't know what I think about you, about our relationship. But I then actually just wrote him, let's have a tea together. I can hear you now. I don't myself. I mean, but I just wrote him that, and so I actually suggested something, and this is just a very small thing that was feeling good for me, but still enabled us to meet, and his wish was kind of granted that we could meet each other and talk with each other, and just so there was in it something for both of us. And sometimes finding those solutions that are just a little different from the other things we thought about, that's the key, I think. You know, just this little cognitive and emotional step further. And if we can do that more and more, we train our brains to automatically find those solutions, and then that makes life a whole lot easier, generally, I think.
Wow. That's really beautiful, man, the way that unfolded. One might even say that you got kind of creative there.
What a really, yeah. you really forced that a bit, but that's
I didn't know when we were going to do it, and I didn't know who was going to do it, but
it's good. Like we can just let it go. Like honestly, it's about being creative. I mean, that's what I actually told you earlier, that like we have to be creative to find solutions to drop the zero-sum game. And I don't know if we want to say something else about all that, but we actually also can change to the other topic because we're just doing a trial here anyway.
And we can go back and forth too. There's nothing saying that we can't. If we feel like we've missed something, or you know, I was also trying to respect, you know, the time frame that you said that we might have to adhere to. But I feel like you're waking up almost. Like you're just like you look like you're buzzing over there now that we're into it. But
definitely more than earlier. Yes, that's the truth. No, but let's change to another topic, because we actually got through a few interesting points. We had said a few interesting things, and yeah, the second thing is actually we talked about getting creative to find solutions against zero-sum games for a win-win solution, like for a win-win play for everybody. And that's very important, like getting creative, like taking your time, really like noticing that it's like win-lose game is a lose-lose game for everybody in the end. That's what Teal also says, and that's very important, that I don't lose in the long term, because as I am part of everything, like everything comes back to me, and if I hurt something, it like I will feel hurt, and even if I don't feel connected, that's even worse. So that's just what I wanted to add. But aside from that, being creative is very important in that sense, but also being creative is generally important, as we both think. I think like we're clear on this one. And so my idea for the second topic of the evening was how being creative can actually change the world. And I mean with that, not being creative only in win-win games, but generally in life and in the pursuit of, I don't know, happiness, or just like inspiring people and showing them that also a new world can exist. Because like not only about talking about zero-sum games, but also in general, like to be able to imagine a new world, which means being creative, is the first step to actually creating a new world. And that's what I want to start the next topic with.
I like it. Did you want to touch upon perhaps where some of this inspiration came from, i.e. a recent book you may have read, or?
Like my personal inspiration, like I personally realized after the training, I mean, I can say it here, that I didn't get certified as a CP practitioner, which stirred up a lot of things in me, or some things. And I came to realize, aside from the fact that I wasn't ready to be a healer, that I also am probably more of a creator in total. And that made me actually start creating more. And I started recently a little bit more writing, and I also created an inspirational video, which is going to be the second one out of a series of more and more I will do. And I wanted to share that with you. I will send it to you. You can, your audio is no yet.
I didn't say anything. I was speechless. I'm like, where is this video? How we've been sending clips back and forth of all these lovely audio videos.
I finished it yesterday, so it was not ready that long.
Okay.
But the thing is, like, I realized that if you create, and in that inspirational videos, which they are not perfect, but they're like already like getting closer and closer to my vision. I combine movie clips with music, with audio quotes that I have from YouTubers. And I will also continue to record my own audio at a point, because I got the feedback that this would be even more interesting. And I realized that those things also like they are like tools to make people dream and imagine a new world. And this is very, very powerful, because according to what Teal said, like reality is not just the physical, but also in the thought, and that's where it starts. And so I realized that I was personally inspired by so many, like when I got deeper into it, by so many movies, by so many books, by so many like media that was like creating content, like fiction, non-fiction, whatever you can imagine, that I realized that there's just a huge importance of just inspiring the world to change, not just like forcing it through like fear, like, okay, there's the climate change, we gotta act, but just really like letting the uninhibited, like relaxed flow of creativity flow into the world, and positively inspire people to just with ease change their lives and the lives around other people around them.
That's awesome, man. I look forward to this video and the series that should be following. Yes. For sure, man. Yeah. Are you
So
flexing your frequency over there? Were you flexing your frequency?
I was changing my seat, but yeah, there was a little
Yes.
frequency flexing in that.
Nice. So, but this is just so I don't forget because I don't have notes written in front of me this week. But man, I will. This has really made me understand the importance of having notes for our future broadcasts. But Akiho requested that maybe we consider next week's theme, embracing the divine masculine.
Okay. It's funny because Teal just uploaded the divine masculine activation grid. You saw
Right.
it, right?
I saw it with the arrows and the.
Yeah, with the beep dicks. It was full of dicks. Did you
I
not?
didn't see any beeps.
There
What?
was like there's dicks and balls. You will see. Like it's full of it.
I think I saw one or two of what you're speaking of, and I was like, is that a that? No, yes, probably. I don't know. But are
Embracing
you
the.
are you
I'm sorry
open to
that I
that?
said dicks. I should say the male. But if we already talk about embracing the masculine, then we should actually start with openly talking about the male sex and recreation and reproduction organ by
I
saying
I
penis.
is that the PC is penis these days?
PC penis,
PC penis. That sounds like a
maybe.
character. Could be a character.
Like in South Park, the PC principal.
Oh, didn't we have a mascot in our original podcasts in
I don't
Utah?
know. I don't know, but there was
Wait,
an
we
original non media podcast.
oh, it was something that Ray and I were talking about on the side. He would know. It was a really good idea. It was like a puppet, and I forgot the puppet's name, but it was brilliant. We'll
Okay,
have to we'll
we
have to
both
ask
have his
him.
contacts. We can ask him. But I wrote it down. We can definitely.
Okay.
That's definitely a good idea. But let's stick to the first topic because I actually asked you
Yes.
in which ways you think that we could actually create a better world through creativity and art and the creative flow in our hearts.
So the question is what can we do beyond what we're already doing?
We're doing that right
Like,
now. I mean, we're being kind of creative, but yeah.
yeah. No, I don't mean like you and I, but I mean as a whole, as a world, as a
Yeah.
society. What can we do? Um,
Hmm.
wow, that's a really good question. I didn't know or think that you were going to ask me. I feel ill prepared, but as I'm just sitting here thinking how it relates to me personally and what I can do, and be the change you want to see in the world. So I know like this, like you just kind of alluded to, is a way, and this is a way for me because this is uncomfortable. And I'm not saying we all need to do uncomfortable things, but we all do know that there's that voice in the back of our head, or we have friends pointing to you on the screen that may gently remind us from time to time, like, you're a really funny person, man. You should do comedy, or and you keep hearing these things through the years, and you make your excuses, you make your pardons, and you go along your way and you do the same thing that you've been doing. But in this trip for me, coming out of it was 2 weeks that I could be myself and be
Bro.
somewhere where I felt like I was in this container and really allow my true voice to come out and the expressions of what feels good for myself and around other people. And that was something I've been fighting for a while. And as you saw, like, the funny guy came out, and it wasn't a defense mechanism like maybe it's been before. I was really just embracing that part of me that enjoys comedy, like, it was my way of not deflecting or distracting, but connecting and
Hmm.
bringing each other closer and just celebrating that closeness. And so I heard before, like, oh, if you're funny or you use comedy, that's something that you're that's a defense mechanism, and
Not
maybe in the past.
always. Even I,
Right.
even I told you that. Even I was one of the people who told you that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be. Like I mean, I can see how you brought people together. I can still remember that. So you did a very good job with that. And
Thank you.
that's also kind of a creativity as well. Like right now, like I mean, like where you're like comedically like in the flow, like the muse is guiding you. Kind of just with humor bring people together, and suddenly they're around the table and they're listening to you and they want to be part of the fun. That's nice.
And we make jokes about a podcast, but here we are, sure as sugar, doing that very thing because it felt good and it was real in the moment. And even though it wasn't real, it was real because it was coming from the heart. And so to kind of like wrap up that thought, getting uncomfortable with things, challenging ourselves to maybe just tiptoe in a pool of experimentation. You don't have to dive fully in and buy all the equipment, make the investments, or broadcast yourself in live Facebook things. Maybe you just start off recording a video of yourself and watching it back. And for me, I've seen people online posting their live Facebook videos. I've seen people doing their GoFundMes, and I've seen people, even in my community doing stand-up and this, and always sitting there, and there's a part of me going, I could do that. Or man, that would be fun. Or when I was a kid, I used to aspire to be that person on the stage. And as all these conversations, and as we're unlearning the program, and plugging into the new program, hey, I can do those things. I should do those things, not for an end goal or a zero-sum game. Like I'm either going to win or lose, but just to do the damn thing because it feels good.
Thing. And that's like what I was instantly reminded of is, I mean, first of all, you're totally right. This about this kind of, what did you call it? Like overcoming your fear and kind of just doing it anyways.
Yeah.
And like I asked myself, where is this fear coming from? And generally it's the general fear of putting yourself out there and just like giving your energies into the world. And this is like the core insecurity of, are my energies welcome in the world? And there are a lot of people, like especially us in the Teal tribe or in the healing circles, that have made the experience that because they are different and that they're sensitive and that they're maybe traumatized and stuff like that, they felt that their energies were not welcome in the world. But those are the creative types that actually like should put themselves out there even more. And so that's like the tragedy in a way, that the artist is a lot of the time the one who doubts himself. Like, I can read you. Did I send you the quote actually? Like I sent that to, I can read that from the book I sent you, and the book you didn't read.
I didn't read in a few days.
I'm gonna give you the quote, and it's a very beautiful quote, and it's called "Resistance and Self-Doubt." Self-doubt can be an ally. This is because it serves as an indicator of aspiration. It reflects love of something we dream of doing, and desire to do it. If you find yourself asking yourself and your friends, am I really a writer? Am I really an artist? Chances are that you are. The counterfeit innovator is wildly self-confident. The real one is scared to death.
Whoa.
So that's like one of my favorite quotes, and it's even now sends me chills down my spine because because it's like, it speaks to my heart so deeply. You cannot believe. Maybe you can believe because maybe
yeah. No, for sure, man.
Yeah.
That's a truth bomb right there for sure.
So like this should really give us confidence to say, okay, what the fuck, I'm just gonna do the things I do, and that's what I'm doing. Like right now I commit myself to, during the week, spend two hours a day just producing content and just seeing what comes up. And I'm pretty, like, my tempo right now is pretty good, and it's like it's going. So it's like I'm doubting myself still, but it's like, go practice, do more, like get feedback, and just continue.
Yeah, same. We're on the same page, which is beautiful. And as we do this little exercise today, it feels like we've been doing this for a while. Like, I didn't know, are we going to run out of things to say? Which is kind of silly because when we riffed back in Utah, we never ran out of anything to say. In fact, we were always running out of time versus anything. It wasn't like, oh, I'm bored or this subject, so let's move on. It's like, shit, we have to go. The band's, ready.
Yes.
We got to put our shoes on and go. So just this exercise in and of itself today is such a gift, man. It feels so good sitting here just going through it and seeing the screen and imagining, like already I'm imagining the recorded version of this and sharing it online and just getting excited about the feedback.
Yes.
I don't care what it is. It doesn't
Because
matter.
we're in it together, right? We there's that's also a creative thing. If you get somebody else into the boat, there's the anxiety shrinks a little bit.
Absolutely. And that's, I don't know if I shared this with you specifically or who it was the other day, maybe one of my recordings to you, but the whole collaborative process about creativity is an extremely, immeasurably incredible way to reconnect to that artist within. If you're so paralyzed and just you can't find yourself sharing a video or writing that book or going to do that art show or showing up at exhibit or pick someone to work with.
Yes.
I did that with my daughter. I've been a writer all my life.
Yes.
Yeah, and so my daughter and I made that first book together. That's turned into a series of 5 books now that we're working on at our own pace.
Brilliant.
But without her, I would have never. I mean, it would have been another 3, 5, 10 years before I released my first book. But because we had that together and pushing each other and her strengths and my strengths and weaknesses, this came together so easily. And I feel that's happening already here. Like you just took the reins and you made the outline. I didn't ask you to make an outline. You made a freaking out. I hate making outlines, but you made a beautiful outline. And without any effort, we've got this thing already happening where, I mean, it was a damn burden to figure out how to record this thing on my 1980 iPad. But in the moment, we creatively figured out a way. You tapped into another account, and here we are. I mean, as minute as that may be on the scale of creativity, we did it on the fly, and we're still, honoring our time and our schedule, and I think that's beautiful.
Yes.
Also, let me say this.
I'm gonna send you right now the Dropbox link of my inspiration video, and you can check it out.
Thank you. As you do that, let me take a moment to say, we in our little outline or whatever. I see that it came through already. Beautiful. I will, as soon as we log off, I will dive into that for sure. But we talked about, the platform here, and it's not a worship Teal podcast by any means. We're using the video, right? We decided that, I'm voicing this. Are you comfortable with that? Is that okay that I'm saying that? Okay.
Go ahead. You can.
I've already.
Free.
Shit. Fuck. I've already said it. Damn. Beep. Yeah, I just wanted to be clear on that like we're not piggybacking or like trying to just tap into her audience or whatever. Actually, it's quite the inverse. What we're doing is, or at least, from my perspective, and you 2 cents drop in, when you feel ready. I feel like we're showing up as allies, as advocates, as there's so many groups and so many haters and so many people come out of the woodworks to just totally destroy a person and her team with absolutely no founded anything whatsoever, but just for the sheer sake of being pernicious and bored and or otherwise. But I feel like we could show up and be another voice to help support her and her mission and her vision just by talking about the video once a week. And that's really all we're doing. Is she's got this great content that she offers, and we've made great connections within the Teal Tribe communities, all the different communities, the completion process community, the tribe itself, all the events that I've gone to, you've gone to, et cetera, et cetera. So it's giving us all another place to voice, not just you and I, because we're going to have people asking questions. Hopefully we'll have a whole community around this and support around this podcast eventually. And we'll all be able to be yet another way to help lift up someone that's helped lift us up in so many ways, but also take some of the burden off her and alleviate that stress and strain from the team. Like if haters want to come out of the woodworks, well, they're going to have to come at us now too, because, oh, shit, fuck, beep. We're out there doing the damn thing. And maybe we get even more loud about it I don't know. But
I'm curious about that because I'm a Cancer and the Cancer loves the harmony. So while you're noticing like talking about haters, I'm like,
dude, I don't know what it means to be a Cancer or a Capricorn, which you're the Cancer, I'm the Capricorn. I don't want that. I don't want that at all. But like as soon as you start doing this work, as soon as you start turning on, and here's the unfortunate reality. You turn on that switch of being, in the spotlight. You got one on your screen there. And you do the good work and you get out there and you say the things that are making an impact or that are challenging people, you instantly become a target. It's happened my whole life from age 3 to age 45. Like whenever I've made a decision to shine, out of the woodwork, haters, haters, haters. Why? That's just what haters do, man. That's a whole nother topic, a whole nother rant, a whole nother 3 to 7 podcasts. But that's the reality. And I get as uncomfortable as you inside as I say it, but the more I put it out there, like the shit's just going to happen, and let's all, like not share in the pain together, but be more of a collaborative, collective voice that creatively says, quit the shit, man. You're being ridiculous. And if you don't believe me, call into the show. We don't have a phone or anything, and you can't call in, so screw you. But, leave a question, and we'll have a very, mature dialogue offline, online, or somewhere else where I don't have to see your face. Sorry. Anyway, that's me. I'm not speaking for this side of the screen. I'm just speaking for here. Like, I'm just tired of it. Like, no one's out there trying to hurt anybody or trying to do things that we shouldn't be doing as completion process practitioners or just fans of a certain teacher. There's so many teachers around the world, and a few of us decide, that we like some of the information that this teacher is sharing. That's it. It's not a cult. It's not a cult. It's not a cult. Relax. But back to creativity and your thoughts on what I just shared.
Okay, first of all, yeah, for me, it's just that personally, I have not actually tried the move into the spotlight that much, basically because of being a little bit afraid of that negative feedback, hater culture. So for me, this is a new thing. I mean, I have like articles online that I've written, but on a blog from another guy. And I actually started also another little blog with a friend, but it's so unfamous that nobody will find it. And I'm not going to mention the name because the topic is very weird. I'll show it.
Will you send me the link?
I will.
Okay.
The rest can guess. No, the thing is that so it will be a new experience for me, but I think together we can get through it. With every kind of shitstorm that comes, we can make it. And
thank you.
Yeah, back to creativity. I mean, I don't know if you shared more about the creativity, like we talked about haters right now. You did share about, like you said earlier, but I already commented on that, like that. I don't know, what was the last thing you said about creativity? Can you repeat it again?
I was talking about collaborating.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I mean, I completely see that. It flows, like with certain people, it just flows. And I see that flow with us, and just getting feedback, just getting, like, there's also like, there's a thing like getting positive, but not only positive, but really constructive feedback on stuff. That's very important in the creative process, I guess. And and generally just like encouraging each other, because like if you want to create art, if you like have an idea, like one of the most important things is basically having people in your life that are actually just as inspired and passionate about life as you are. And that's what I'm just realizing when I look around at friends that I have, and I just realized that, like, I had this feeling during the last 2 days. It's like a nagging feeling, like most of my current friends here in the city I live in are pretty cool, but they sometimes miss this little ignition, like this little missing spark, this fire, this passion. And that's so important for the creative person, because that's what like keeps them like producing awesome content and yeah, just like, or makes them start. I mean, I talk like I'm a professional at this, but I'm not. I've just started, but I noticed that like the best articles I wrote maybe, and the best kind of things I created, which is not a lot, but it was just like with the pure passion behind it. And so that's like very important. Maybe you can agree, like maybe you can say a little bit more because you have like published stuff professionally. So
Yeah, it almost becomes. I won't say that it comes without effort, but it has that feeling of effortlessness. Like when you're in that flow and you've turned on that ignition switch for the passion, like it comes out of you, and you're supported in surprising ways that you never would imagine too. Because when you're operating from that pure heart center, and you've totally abandoned the how is this going to work and how am I going to sell this and how is it going to come together, but you're pinpoint focused on the what, and your heart's just driving the bus. I would liken it to freestyle. Like when you freestyle rap and you're truly freestyling and you're not taking it from a place of memory or up here,
yes.
dude, it really comes right out of your chest. And if you can plug into that, you can slay any battle rapper on any field of play any day. Not that there's a zero-sum game and we need to slay all rappers, but if
rapping is about competition. Like rappers, when they get into the business, they kind of agree to compete. So that's
that's true. Unless of course you're just joyriding in your car and you want to freestyle. So I guess what I'm trying to say is when you purely plug into that, that authentic heart flow, man, the creative process becomes really almost effortless. It becomes very joy filled. And when I said support shows up in the most unimaginable ways, that's like kind of the magic too. And I'll use, for instance, like the GoFundMe that I recently put together to attend the completion process training. My thought was a friend of mine got very creative, and this was years ago. He was a permaculture teacher, and he was about to get his certification so that he could start legitimately offering classes in the community around the state of Florida, et cetera, et cetera. And so his platform was, if you give to my GoFundMe campaign, and he had the money to pay for it himself, but his idea was, if the community supports me, my give back is going to be, and it was only like $1,500 or $2,000. It wasn't a lot of money. I'm going to offer free classes to the community. So if you and I could contribute $10, $20, whatever, that's awesome. We would go and get free classes. But if Sally, Joe, and Bobby didn't have any money, because you and I helped him get to his goal, they can all go for free too. So people helping people, right? And so I thought that was kind of beautiful. So when
that's a win-win game there. That's like that's a good example of not a zero-sum game.
Right. And so that's how I built my campaign, was on the inspiration and the premise of that. Like if you, and it's still going to this day, by the way, but even though I've got a loan for the balance due on the tuition from a family member that believed in what I was doing, but didn't really have the funds, but had the opportunity to support me, knowing that I would pay it back in some way or another, hopefully through the GoFundMe or through doing services, getting a job or otherwise, whatever. I have time to pay it back. But my platform is if I get funded, I would permanently, not even temporarily like my friend's previous campaign was. It was just to offer classes for a little while around the city of Orlando for free. But permanently, my first session with every client for their first time will be free. And it'll be like a discovery session of sorts. If we want to work together, we feel good about it. They actually vibe with the completion process, or they don't. There's a decision there that can be made without any money involved, and any exchange except our equal time spent in the session together. So if they decide, so the first time, like if you were to call me and say, John, I need a session, it would be free. After that time, if you're like, John, I need another session, then it would be like $120. Those sessions can last anywhere from an hour to 3 hours, whatever. So that was the fair price that I came up with based on other practitioners, my experience, and a slew of other variables. But that was the number that I felt comfortable with. If you're like, John, I can't afford $120, but I really want to do the process, that's when we get creative, and I find ways to help you in the spirit of free continue to get the type of healing you need. I can, to you, offer the solution creatively to purchase the book, and you can take yourself through it, and I can help you with that in ways that I've helped myself and and support you there. I can also make posts in certain communities of completion process practitioners and other places to say, hey, I have a person that really needs, to go through another session, but they're financially strapped right now. Does anyone need to do homework or practice, or is just feeling like giving, back to someone in need? And so there's that, being loosely creative with each other to help fulfill your needs.
That's a really, really beautiful example. It's really nice. Really nice. I do wanna also like because I see the time is running a little bit, and I think we although this is really, really awesome to talk about all of those things, I do want to address one question that we already a little bit started to address it, is how actually, and we started coming up with this right now, but in the larger scale of things, how do we use the creativity as an art form, like the creativity in the arts, to practically change the world? And we talked about that already. Like we said that, or I said basically that, like we can create visions, and we can create, like through your book, for example, you made a book about little monsters, and you included like almost spiritual lessons in that, I think. And so that's awesome. Like a book with beautiful pictures from your daughter, and then texts like poetry. Was it poetry? I don't know. Poetry by you to like illustrate it, and like in a playful way for smaller and older children, just illustrate like lessons about different monsters that symbolize different things. And so that's a creative way to with art get new impulses into the world. But what other ways are there? Through movies, through whatever, that's what I'm asking myself. Because once I like saw more videos about consciousness, I realized that conscious art is going to be one of the big things of the future. Like conscious movies, for example, movies that are actually made in a way which are not boring and still catch the audience, but also like twist a little bit in the mind. And there are examples of those movies, like if you say like Inception, The Matrix, like there are movies like that are like still action packed, but all of those implant a new thought that has not been there in the mainstream before. And I see that coming with more and more content, and like introducing more and more concepts like non-duality, integration, shadow work, the feeling process. If we can get that out into the minds of the people, and by that I don't mean just the Teal tribe or smaller consciousness groups, but just everybody that goes into the movie theaters then, or like reads a book or goes on YouTube, how awesome would that be? Like how great would that be? This is like the next next stage in the creative evolution of media and art, I would say.
I would love to see like a a high conscious like Sesame Street emerge of sorts for the children. So like maybe someone starts it on YouTube, and then they do it in their home, or they do it as a podcast or whatever, but having little puppets and just talking about those things. Because I know as I shared my book with a few people in Utah, they, some of the girls actually came to me in tears, and I was like, what's wrong? And they're like, this is so beautiful. Like, we need more literature like this in the world. We need more books like this and me, that was shocking to me, because I'm like, that doesn't exist. Like there aren't more out there. And they're like, no, there's not enough, or that I'm aware of. Like, so to make that more prevalent, more relevant, more just noticeable. And there's so many ways, so many resources now for us to plug in and do that. And I think we don't see that because of what you touched on earlier, and that's the hesitation of the artist.
It is partly the hesitation of the artist, but it is also the fact that we are basically pioneers, right? Like your generation and my generation, and maybe one older, but no, generally not. They are the first generations to grow up in a society which is filled with more consciousness. like which has a broader population of people becoming conscious and growing and integrating themselves and facing themselves. So of course there is just the need to be pioneers now and create that content now for the future generations, because generally, like in the older generations, there was just not enough consciousness from the like broad population to go into this kind of public media and to also be recognized by the public. Because I think there are a lot of people that have like the seed of like awakening, or the seed of like becoming more self-aware in them, but like they need a little outside push to actually like get it into like really rolling and really get it started, right? And media can be a great way of giving that push. Like I remember like this person I talked about earlier, Leo Gura. I saw his first video like 4 years ago maybe, and that just really started my whole self-exploration journey big time. And so I can almost like remember the feeling I got when I watched the first videos. It was like breathing in something new, some new fresh air, and this is the feeling we want to create, I guess.
Yeah, I had a friend of a friend. I was sitting beneath a beautiful Bodhi tree outside of a local vegan cafe that's quite wonderful here in Orlando, called Dandelion Community Cafe.
Was it really a Bodhi tree?
Oh yeah, dude. When you come to Orlando, we are going to sit beneath this magnificent Bodhi tree, and
Nice.
it's oh man, it's glorious. But she had said to me, we were talking about, I think we were drawing some cards or whatever, and she's like, what? She loved the book that my daughter and I made, and she's like, are you working on anything else? And I said, I'm actually considering. Okay, I'll share it with you. I didn't share it with many people, but I was like, all right, I'll share it with you. And it's like I call it, it's not a self-help book, it's the way I help myself. And she's like, well, what's wrong with a self-help book? And I was like, well, there's just so many out there. And it's just inundated with self-help. So I didn't want to throw it in that category. And she looked at me and she's like, John, she's like, there is never, ever going to be enough self-help books out there. And she's like, I would highly encourage you to write your self-help book, call it a self-help book, because we need them desperately and direly. Like that new voice that you said, or just that new, feeling coming from.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like the thing is, we don't like. I know what you mean when you say you don't want to create more self-help books, because definitely there are a lot of self-help books that are made in a very self-harming way. Because there are different kinds of self-help books, and there are the ones that are less conscious, and there are the ones that are more conscious. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but there's a model of spiral dynamics, which actually maybe we can introduce it in another session, maybe the next one. Or no, we already have a topic, but the one after that. It generally categorizes populations and cultures and individuals into levels of consciousness and cultural development. And as we progress, our consciousness rises, and also the kind of self-help we do rises. And in like the first self-help books were just about how to think and grow rich, and just the one by Napoleon Hill, or the one like how to win friends and influence people and that stuff.
Oh my God, I was just about to say that very one, man.
And we think of those ones and like Tony Robbins stuff when we think about self-help, but this is like there's a new kind of self-help, and Teal is the new kind of self-help, and just like gentle, conscious, integrative stuff that is more aimed towards really like putting like deep change into motion. That is the self-help we don't have enough of, because like Teal is almost like when it comes to the more popular people, she's like the monopoly almost on that. So still not like trying to create any competition here, but there's generally like there's another kind of self-help that has not been touched upon that much.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. And it piggybacks on what you said earlier about encouragement and how we can all play a grander role in that with each other and in ourselves, but even first and foremost with each other. Because these little conversations, like right now, you have me really itching to like pick up the pen and work on this project again. I've abandoned it
Nice.
so many times, like the little child within me, like just left him there in the cold. And it really, it's nice to just hear another voice say, we need this, John. So thank you for that.
You're very welcome.
Yeah.
So for me, it seems like that's a good point right now to wrap it up. Because I don't know, we said a lot, we talked a lot. It has been probably like 1.5 hours, basically.
Yeah. How long is a typical podcast?
I don't know. Like I think it can differ a lot, but like everything from 45 minutes to 2 hours, maybe.
Okay, so we're in a decent window here, and then we'll eventually figure out what feels good for us. If we should actually stick, with the outline, which I feel flowed very, very well. Maybe we get it down to like an hour 15.
Yeah, that would be a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna actually write down spiral dynamics, because that's a very good that's a good topic. You will love it, honestly.
Very good.
I will.
I love that this gives us every week like the opportunity to push ourselves to learn more, to read more, to really just research these two, it looks like we're going to be dealing with two things every week, both the video and that topic,
Yes.
and then the tie-in with the topic of the week, which who knows what, and we won't know till Saturday what that video is, and then we have a few days to prepare.
We can combine it in good ways.
Right. Oh, dude, there's always going to be a way that I think it's really going to blow our mind come Saturday, and how the divine masculine will tie into our video.
Nice.
Which and we don't have to do that. That was just a suggestion based on.
It's fine with me. It's fine with me.
I need to learn more about it too. So and you and I touched upon it in so many different ways, puns not intended, in Utah. So yeah, I think we just started knocking on the door and cracking open the shell in the time that we had in Utah. But it's definitely a topic that would be awesome to explore more deeply.
Nice. Yep. I think that's a very good point to wrap it up.
Oh, can I ask you? Let me just, since we're still wrapping up, I had a thought just based on a gift that I got yesterday that was quite beautiful. That maybe, and you can totally nix it if you don't like it or whatever. But what I was thinking is at the end of every segment, we can shout out maybe to like a local, what I call like a local love artist, whether it's a band or someone that's got, like an art exhibit or like a local maker. In this particular, and so this way we're supporting people, in our communities and stuff, and I can do one and you can do one, or we alter, every other week or whatever.
Alter. I find that's a beautiful idea.
So basically, these were given to me by a friend of mine who has a company called Banjolitos, like banjo, like the the instrument. So banjolitos.com. They're local here in Winter Park, Orlando, Florida area, and they started off as and continue to be and have the worldwide patent on modular eyewear. And what that means is, so the sides can actually come off, not on this particular pair because these are their new foldies. They used to be to where the arms only stuck out and you couldn't fold them in, but now, by popular demand and stuff, you can actually fold them. But they utilize, in this case, it's zebra wood, but on the back is a plant-based acetone, I think it's called. What the initial Banjolitos, what they were, was modular. So you could change out, you can have different material, different type of woods here. You could have purple wood, you can have Wenge wood, you can have the zebra wood. They have so many different types of wood. And you can style your own glasses. The fronts can be different than the backs, and you can pop out the sunglasses and put in your actual prescription lenses. So they're like really, really smart, wicked, so many designs. They have so many available on site. But I just think they're so hardcore badass looking. And we're
going to use this as the thumbnail, like this picture of you with the sun.
So basically, in a nutshell, they're wizards. They're made by wizards with lasers. That's one of their taglines. They actually have laser machines that they utilize to cut the patterns out. They're doing great work with organizations and other type of groups to have different shapes, like, you know, maybe some local sports teams or animals for kids. So like this side could be like the elephant's head and this side could be like the elephant's tail. So all sorts of interchangeable goodness. They've grown over the last few years in so many ways. And I thought maybe it's something that we could do. And then maybe on your end, you could say, hey, my folks here in Germany, in my hometown, you know, they're a band called, you know, Orange Monkeys, and they play tonight at one of my favorite places called so and so. So check them out if you're in town, or next week, or whatever the case may be. Since it is a podcast, maybe it's something that's not a necessarily date specific thing, but you know, check out these, you know, whatever. I don't know, it's just an idea.
I would say that this is generally a good idea, but maybe we should, awesome. Maybe we should wait with that until we have a little bit of like reach. Yeah.
I'm like a commercial man.
No, I mean like until we have like a few people that are actually watching us, because otherwise it would be like a little hilarious when we like have like 2 people and then we're like advertising stuff that's like, I would wait until there's like 100 maybe or 1,000 or something.
So that's just, so we have to build it to 100 followers for you to sign off on the endorsement stuff. All right, so that'll be a first personal goal of mine, so that nice. I can plug.
Awesome. you already did that now. No way taking it back. All right, let's wrap it up, John. Yes. Let's go private again and say goodbye to our audience. If you are ready for that.
It's going to be so hard to say goodbye, but thank you for joining us. Thank you for your patience, patronage, and all the other P words. Beep, 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 beep. We'll see you next time.
See you. Goodbye.